back and we are talking stress today. And I feel like it's just something that we recurrently. I think recurrently is the word I'm going for here.
We constantly talk about it. It's a recurring topic.
There we go.
Reoccurring topic. Reoccurring topic. Oh, maybe it's the stress that's got our brain a little bit.
Oh, or maybe it's just talking all day long on Tuesdays.
This
like
is
we do.
true.
And it just gets hard sometimes to stay super sharp on the podcast.
Well, and we're bouncing back and forth. Like one of the things I think, and this can definitely go into this conversation is, as entrepreneurs, we are doing business meetings, we're doing social media, we're filming reels, then we're filming podcasts, and we're bouncing back and forth between different topics, right? And then we're also getting messages from our team, messages from our clients. And so Tuesdays it's just a lot. And then we go into the other, clinical days where again, like tomorrow, I've got a book-in day of clinical calls and then 2 hours to film reels, so it's one of those things where you're just like, yeah, I'm just being torn 20 different directions. And so if it's not one thing, it's another. And, then we think about everything outside of work, right? Your kids, job, how you physically feel, your training, if you're, in the gym, and your exercise and your movement and things that you're doing to support, your body image, your finances, paying the bills on time, calling that person back that keeps calling you 20 times. And they can't just send you a freaking text message, right? To reschedule an appointment. I have that happening right now. And I'm like, can you just send me a link and I'll rebook this appointment. I don't have time to call you back. So
that way I'm like, listen, whatever can minimize the amount of time I spend doing this, I will pay for. Like that is me. I do not send me 3 pages of things to read through, get on a 5-second phone call with me and talk me through it. Like that is,
yeah.
And some people would rather save their money and spend way more time doing those things. I am like, nope, convenience. Here is my wallet.
If you feel tired all the time and you're drinking water, you're probably missing electrolytes because you need electrolytes to get intracellularly hydrated. We love Buoy because this is an easy way to get in sodium, potassium, magnesium, and trace minerals into your day without any of the junk fillers that most powders use.
Please shorten the time that it gets me from here to where I want to be.
Yes. And this is also, we've talked about this before. This is why we have practitioners that we work with that help us like, okay, these are the things that are important right now, or like reel you're crazy in, okay, it's a high stress time, or, hey, you just went through this season of life. We need to, back out a little bit and calm down on, some of the intensity of the protocols, or, hey, you're not handling the stress well. Your labs are telling this, your recovery is telling us, we need to pay attention to those signs and symptoms. And because we are human, we are women. And just because this is our job in terms of functional medicine and knowing all the things, we still both believe that having somebody else, that 10,000 foot view that is not biased, is really important. And we still have our own struggles, right? So going through that and saying, okay, how do I navigate this? And how do I also realize that maybe I was sweeping some things under the rug for a little bit of time? I need to not be doing that. I need to really focus in or scale back and set boundaries. And I think a lot of that, when we think about this conversation today, is really, really important because we are the only ones that can do it. Right? Becca can't set boundaries for me. My husband can't set boundaries for me. I'm the only person that can set boundaries for me and time block and say no to things and then look at everything that's on my plate and delegate more. And that's really hard to do sometimes if you are wanting to stay in control. While we're going to bring that topic up, I have some notes that I wanted to pull up. I think it'll be good to kind of talk about here really quick. So at church this past week, we were talking about the small G's that we need to throw away. So things that we idolize above God. And I was like, ugh. I feel like every one of these is just like punching me in the face and like the side, right? So the God of comfort. So we choose ease over obedience. I was like, oh, dang. Okay. The God of control. So wanting to control everything. I know I felt this through and through when we were going through our fertility journey. And I was so angry with God and asking questions like, why can't I control these things? Right? It should be easy. We never struggled before. What the hell is going on? The God of image. So we value perception over authenticity. Who's liking our reels? Who's sharing our reels? How many people are messaging us? What do people think about me? All those types of things instead of showing up as your authentic self. The God of entertainment. And so this stuck to me because it says we numb our souls instead of nourishing them. And how many times is that so true that at the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're sitting there and you're just watching TV, mindlessly eating the popcorn or the candy or the chocolate or drinking the wine because you deserve it, air quote here, right? Or you're just scrolling on social media and just kind of trying to tune everything else out instead of really thinking about what you need to nourish your soul. The God of affirmation. So we live for likes, compliments, pats on the back. And those things, these, aren't bad necessarily, but he was talking about when you do these things from a place of that's what I'm doing it for, the intention, right? I'm idolizing this over what God thinks. I care more about how many other people, in the world here are liking me or complimenting me or telling me a good job. And then the God of culture. So if it's trending or accepted, it must be right. We strive for blessing instead of living from one. And I was like, wow, okay. And the last one here was God of achievement. So we're constantly chasing that next level and achievement. And again, not that that's a bad thing, but at what cost? Right. And so, what are those things that maybe we need to throw away? And I think the control one and the comfort for sure were two that really resonated with me in terms of I need to turn things over to God. I can't control everything, right? Very transparently, we want to move to Texas. It's been on our heart. We feel called. We're going to, tour the area. It drives me bonkers that like I don't have a plan. I don't have by December 31st, these are the steps that need to be taken. And then I'm going to meet with this person and this house is going to fall in line. And then I put my house on the market on this date. Like that drives me nuts, right? Because I like to be in control. I like to know the plan and also trying to, plan around our family and everything. So I've really had to say, okay, God, I'm giving this over to you. I'm expecting for you to show me what your plan is. And that honestly, in some ways, has alleviated a lot of stress. So as we enter this conversation, maybe some of those things will resonate with you that you stress out about. You stress out about the affirmation or, keeping up with the Joneses and the culture. And you need to let that go and turn that over and then release some of the stress that comes along with living to those standards or those idols.
Yeah, gosh, it's so true. And also, before we go on, we just are continuing to mention we have our Own It event coming up. Um, I think having the ability to relate to other people that eh, when we're on this journey, you can feel like you're alone all the time. And I've said it multiple times. Like, I don't think I would still be here without Liz. Like having the ability to talk to someone and not here on this earth, like that extreme, but I'm talking more in the business, doing what we do on a daily basis because it's heavy, it's hard a lot of days. It's, being an entrepreneur is probably one of the most, I think, psychopathic things you can do in terms of just every day. There was a great analogy, Alex Hormone, he always talks about, he's like, as an entrepreneur, you get the hardest problems that no one can or wants to solve every day, all day. Because if they could solve them, they will. And if they were easy, they wouldn't be a problem, right? And so you get constantly from either cases of clients or issues in the business or whatever it might be. And it's like, oh, the whole today's not going to be too bad of a day. And then fires like all day long,
Mhm.
this email, this message, and it's just, it can be really lonely. And I know going through a health journey can feel very similar because I've been there too. And so one of the big things that we're doing the Own It event for, honestly, above all else, is community
Mm.
and making friendships. So for example, Stephanie, who has been on a couple of our podcasts, we met in person at Rachel's event. I don't think we would have the relationship with Stephanie now that we do if we wouldn't have met her at that event. And so like it created a probably lifelong relationship, business friendship. Like Stephanie and I met that weekend and she stayed in my hotel room that night because I was like, here, come on. Like we're both going to the airport early in the morning. I have a rental car, just come back. And we talked super late all like it is just having that ability to meet people. I think alone is what events are for.
Mhm.
It's the connection and the in person that you just cannot do anywhere else, right? Like there's no other way to do an in-person. And so if you have been on the fence and you feel like you've been lonely in this journey or struggling or just want friends or camaraderie in it, because again, we always talk about your environment, right? Like it's really hard to change your environment, but if you can find someone that's like your person and that you can lean on and they can lean on you, it's just, you might be surprised at who you meet and who you develop a friendship with and a relationship with. So again, link is in the show notes. for the event. It is September 5th and 6th in Arlington Heights. It's a Friday and a Saturday. It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited. So diving into stress, because I think that one, a lot of people normalize stress. And I think that we talk about stress as if it's like this one thing. But then you think about all the things that cause you stress, like your kids, your job, your body image, your self-confidence, your relationships, your finances. But yet we refer to it as if it's like this one thing, almost suggesting that the number of stressors we have still equals like my one stress, right? And in reality, all of those stressors create kind of this exponential effect. And we don't consider the mega impact because it all begins and ends with stress. Like it literally, everything that you experience, good and bad, starts with stress. So hopefully we can help you today kind of understand how the body shows stress, because I think a lot of people normalize stress and they don't think that it's a problem, because your mental has probably adapted to it. And like, this is how I am 1,000%. The things that I juggle on a day-to-day basis, and I know Liz juggles on a day-to-day basis, and then I get a Dutch test and it's like, I have no cortisol, but I'm still going. I still put one foot in front of the other every day. And so in our world, it's like, okay, how can I combat in other ways? Because I know my stressor is not going to go down. How can I find areas that I can reduce stress in? For me, my exercise was a really big one for a really long period of time. I'd completely adjusted how I train. Huge impact. My diet, a huge input of stress that you can eat poorly. And I wasn't, but like, it's another area that I think a lot of people have an opportunity with, right? So I'm sure if we asked many people, like, are you stressed? They'd be like, well, yeah, that type of answer. But if you looked at your body and your symptoms, it's clear there is a negative adaptation going on. And you have to be able to identify the symptoms and understand how stress impacts the body. And then we'll give you guys some hopefully tactical things.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's understand first that we have the central nervous system. Okay. And so this is essential to your body's brain. This system has domain over all things basically that are subconscious. So it's taking care of all the things that you don't even realize: blinking, pumping blood, heartbeat, those types of things, growing hair, growing nails, whatever. So we have the parasympathetic and we have the sympathetic, right? And so the parasympathetic is the space that most people don't spend enough time, right? They don't get in the rest, digest, chill out mode. Instead, they stay stuck in this sympathetic. And this is where we look at like fight, flight, or freeze states. So where that person constantly feels, or their nervous system feels like they're being chased by a bear. So it's that go, go, go mentality. Maybe I feel anxious. I am giving myself, tasks to complete in a rush. And, it's just like, I got to get everything done and I got to be perfect and I got to keep up with everybody. And today is the day that I have to get 10,000 things on my to-do list done, which is really just unrealistic, right? So again, we think about boundaries here. But the nervous system makes decisions based upon like internal decisions that you don't even realize physiologically based upon this perceived stress, because it's always scanning around you. What's the perceived stress here? Right? So if you have that peripheral vision, you're looking, you're saying, oh, there's something coming from my side. Oh, there's a car over there. Shit, he's about to, hit me. So I jerk back over. That is your sympathetic taking over. And it's a safety mechanism, which we very much need. But the issue is that most people don't get into the parasympathetic enough, and it should be in equilibrium. So this central nervous system, again, is divided into these two systems. If you are telling me that you are not stressed, but you're also saying like you have no libido, you're sore after workouts, you're bloated all the time, you're constantly having like gut issues, these are signs that your body is showing stress. So cortisol is a hormone that your body produces that's anti-inflammatory, and it is there to help you address your stress, right? So we have cortisol. We have a cortisol awakening response. So when we get up in the morning, it should rise and then it should teeter down throughout the day. And then the inverse of this is your melatonin. It should be very low in the morning and then it should rise by nighttime to help with the circadian rhythm as well. But most people have just bottomed out cortisol because they're just burning their body into the ground. They're saying yes to way too many things. They're dieting for way too long. They're not supporting their adrenals. They're not supporting their liver, their gallbladder, all of the things, your thyroid. These are huge. And so at the same time, because cortisol is anti-inflammatory, for a period of time, you go through a higher level of producing cortisol, and then you generally start to bottom out. And in this place, your immune system is really upregulated. Okay. And so that's going to be important as we kind of continue on here. But we need to understand this, that you need balance and that you cannot be in both at the same time. You're either in fight or flight or rest and digest. And so, how do you throughout your day work to signal your body to get into rest and digest? A great example, and then I'll let Becca elaborate some more. When I take the boys to school and drop off, I feel like I'm running a marathon. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I feel like it's all the things. It's okay. What does Marcus need here? Is he dressed appropriately for the day? Does he have his school uniform on because they're going on a field trip? Does he have sunscreen? Does he have his chapstick? Does he have his lunch, extra snacks? Extra shorts, right? All the things. And then, okay, Ethan, he's pretty easy right now, but he's got to get his bottles. Sometimes they need wipes or diapers or whatever. Okay, everybody get into the car. We've now made it. We're going to drop off. After I get them dropped off, I literally feel like heart racing, this like anxiety lately, because now I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, okay, I got 12 minutes to get home and I want to get on my call and I want to do this before I get on the call or whatever. And I've already been up prepping for the day generally as well. Right. And so don't you think that that's a bit of a stressor to the body? I would say that I feel it. So what I've been trying to do is practice deep breathing. Sometimes I'll turn on Christian music or I shut everything off, to be honest with you. And I just drive in silence and focus on the box breathing, 4 in, hold, 4 out, hold, because that really helps me just kind of signal the body. Breath work is so powerful and it is one, I mean, it's free, it's available to you at all times. You don't have to do a set, time, maybe 3 to 5 big deep breaths, but that can start to signal your body into, hey, let's get calm, let's chill out, we're safe. The kids are at school, they're safe. They have, teachers that are amazing. They're going to be watched for the day. We're not running late. We're on time. It's all going to be good. I have to walk myself through these things because that's just how I feel in the morning time most days.
Yeah. Nick almost every morning is like, are you okay this morning? And I'm like, this is just like my being in this moment. This is just how I am in the morning. Like I am just zooming in the kitchen, getting their water bottles, getting my water bottle. Cause I typically drop them off and go immediately to the gym. So I'm like, I want my electrolytes. I want to make sure I have everything in my bag for the gym. I need to make sure that Jersey's fed and has been out because he pees in our house every 2 hours if he doesn't go outside. It's just all the things. And Nick usually walks in to get ready to get a shower. And now I take both kids because Carson's in summer school, or summer daycare or whatever camp at the same place that Taylor goes to daycare. And so Nick used to take Carson, I used to take Taylor, and now I take both of them. And yeah, it's just a lot. I know I am just, oof. And then I can sense myself in the car usually because Taylor will start kicking my chair or they will start fighting over something. And it's like, I can sense I am much more likely to yell at them in that sense, in that place. So that's every morning, literally every morning of my life. And we downplay how much that is happening and all the impacts to our body that it creates, right? And so something to understand is that in a balanced stress system, in a balanced nervous system, when you are stressed, focus should go up. Senses should be heightened, right? You have that chill in the body. You feel the temperatures outside, right? Your physical ability should go up. You should actually feel stronger in the gym when your body is in a balanced stress state and you start pushing it harder in the gym because your body's sympathetic system allows that energy to be used to upregulate those functions. Same thing with metabolic rate. If you are properly balanced and you go into a calorie deficit to stress the body, it should lose weight. You exert more, you burn more, you should lose weight. In a normal, balanced system, that should be happening. But now let's bring it back, right? We see both systems, the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, the sympathetic. Liz was saying you cannot do both at the same time. One of the number one signs I see with cortisol and stress issues, you are under eating, you are not losing weight. Easy number one sign. Because again, like I said, if you were balanced and you went into a calorie deficit, guess what? Your body would burn more. It would be in a calorie deficit. It would positively adapt with dropping weight. And so the thing is, you can't work out and recover at the same time. You know what that means. And so the analogy a lot of times I use is 100 points. You have 100 coins to distribute between the nervous system of the parasympathetic and the nervous system of the sympathetic. And your body has to read your chemical signals to decide how to allot those points. So if you're giving the body the signals of you're driving, stressed out with the driving, you're getting the kids ready, you're scrolling social media, stressed out because that 50-year-old lady looks like she has 3% body fat and you feel like you have 50% body fat, and you're seeing these people saying that you should eat cottage cheese and 180 grams of protein every day, and you're working out all the time trying to get lean, but you're actually getting fatter, and now you're giving your body less calories, and you're constantly going, your to-do list keeps growing, you keep taking on more, the PTO and the business and all the things. Guess where all your coins are going? They're going to the sympathetic system to increase your focus, your strength, your immunity. And when stress is up, your body's in that high alert. It has to take action. Say your body uses 85 coins, all of that. That means you only have 15 coins left over in this rest and digest. Not much, right? So what does that look like? That looks like your strength may be up. You get a lot of work done, but now your digestion's off. You're bloated. You're constipating, loose stools. And if you push too many coins to that side for too long, what starts to happen? Those abilities get burned out. They get overused. That immune system that was upregulated starts to get burned out. You feel swollen, puffy. You don't feel sick, but you don't feel great. Your body is meant to spend equal times in these states, not constant in the sympathetic. And I think the big thing here is like, look at your day, right? How much of your day is sympathetic stress? How much of your day is rest and digest? I would guarantee the majority of people listening, myself included, very little is put into stress. They're into rest and digest. Like, I have made a point to, in the morning, I do red light, I do deep breathing, I do a little bit of Bible, faith, journaling, gratitude. And then I always have at some point midday, I take 5 minutes, I lay down on the ground, I put my legs up on the wall, and I deep breathe. And then the end of the day is kind of my decompression. The kids are in bed. Nick and I chill on the couch. I really try not to work at night if I can help it. And those are my 3 points in my day. That's like and I've had to focus on that because otherwise I don't do it.
Yeah. It's really hard. It's really challenging, especially when you have so much on your to-do list and you feel like you're dropping balls. And then like Becca talked about before, she felt like for a while, I can't let go of things mentally. Like if there's work that needs to be done, like I need to just like get it done because then I'm not present. So there's a difference, between being physically present and then being mentally, emotionally, and actually being present. Right. And so I think for me, a lot of times what I do is I walk in nature. I think that's one of the best. Lately, I've been walking outside with Ethan. He generally is like taking a short little nap, while my other son is at jujitsu or soccer with my husband. And so that seems to, be working well. This is going to change in every season, right? Maybe setting a little bit more boundaries around how much you are either on the computer or what you're doing first thing in the morning, like getting up and doing gratitude instead of getting on the phone right away. That can be, helpful. I think for everyone, it's so bio individual. Like if someone tells me to meditate, that stresses me out more. So for me, it's finding joy. Can I watch a comedy, with my husband? We like to play cards. That's something we'll do on date night. Have a bottle of wine, play some cards, put some music on after the kids go to bed. And then we're also like talking to each other, at that point in time, instead of just watching TV or something. This could be that you're making a favorite meal or you're calling a friend, you're watching a comedy, you're listening to a book, reading a book, right? You're sitting outside, getting sunlight in the morning with your tea or coffee. And, again, just creating some space. And then I think the more that you can in terms of technology, do some, technology detox essentially. So where you are not on, social media as much scrolling or on your stories like all the time. I think that I've learned recently, I only have so much mental capacity, and Instagram is a great platform to go on and to story and to share and to talk with people. But I also don't want to show up just because I feel like I need to make a story. Like I don't want to show up in a forced way.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if it's not authentic, if it's not something that I feel is going to bring value, or I'm sharing something, from a client or whatever, I've just kind of put that aside for right now because I have a lot of questions to answer in my question boxes, and I can do that. I will continue to do that to serve when I have time. But for a long time, I was feeling so much pressure on myself to put everything out there because I don't want you guys to feel like it's just a highlight. Like I go on without any makeup, look at a hot freaking mess on my stories. If you don't follow me there, you're going to see the real behind the scenes stuff, right? Marcus making his immune drinks, or like us doing face dunks in the morning, whatever that looks like, because it's not all a highlight reel on social media. But at the same time, if it starts to feel forced and to be another stressor, then step away from it for a little bit. Come back when it's really authentic and look at your day. Where are you finding that you feel the most stress? Is it a person that you're having to talk to? Is it an employee? Are you not having hard conversations that you need to have that will eventually make your life easier because you're scared of being uncomfortable for the 15 to 20 minutes that you need to have that hard conversation? So this, it kind of varies person to person based upon what situation you're in. Is it work? Is it home? Is it family dynamic stuff that you need to figure out and navigate? But I also would say set boundaries, say no more. That's just, one of the best ways I think that you can start to control who has your energy. Who has your power? Are you giving your power away to other people to control your emotions? And if you are, you're the only person that can set boundaries and take that back. So hopefully this is really helpful. I think there's a lot of things though that we can do in terms of starting to fix this outside of what Becca mentioned and what I mentioned here, putting those things in intentionally. I would really encourage based upon, what your other symptoms are, maybe doing like a cortisol reset. We've done that with Cort Ease. It's a nice product. You can take 2 capsules every 3 hours for 3 days. On those days, your goal is to slow down, do some like detox baths, rest, journal, meditate, get an extra hour of sleep, go for a 20-minute walk, but nothing more than that. And you're really just giving your body kind of like a reset. Vince Pinstick talks about this. I think he even has the protocol online somewhere. But essentially, what's in that Cort Ease product, or you can use phosphatidylserine as well here, is just helping to normalize your cortisol level. So it'll support it if it's low, but it'll bring it down if it's high. And without testing, it's one of the things that people can do on their own, but absolutely we're going to recommend adrenal testing. See what specifically you need in your day at what times. So when we do the Dutch test, we're looking at a urinalysis and we're looking at a story versus just a screenshot of blood work first thing in the morning, right? We do that as well. We're looking at cortisol and serum on our comprehensive panel, but on the Dutch test, that really gives us that whole adrenal picture, and it shows us what cortisol is being produced and what cortisol is being activated, or deactivated. What is your body preferencing? And that can also tell us, where do we need to look further? Is it inflammation? Is it infections? Is it, sugar or other hormones that are, impairing this? How are the adrenals, doing overall? Then we can be a little bit more specific. But I think those are some of the things that I would do if I wasn't doing testing.
Yeah. And some signs that some things are going on is like brain fog, forgetting things all the time, right? Because focus actually should increase if you're in a balanced stress state. Strength and abilities, you don't recover as well, or you're feeling weaker, or you aren't getting any stronger. Again, you should adapt positively to workouts if you're in a balanced stress state. Metabolic rate, you're gaining weight, you haven't changed anything. Again, you should actually be losing weight if you're working harder and taking in less calories. And this trickle down effect is because when we see chronic stress persist, increased insulin because of increased glucose. Cortisol rises, glucose rises. That's going to cause more inflammatory system. It's going to cause more insulin resistance. That's going to cause more weight gain. Increased visceral fat deposition. We see this all, like, you guys, I cannot emphasize enough how many people we see that have quote unquote a healthy life, but because of their stress, they have high visceral fat, they have horrible metabolic markers. Their stress is killing them, like literally killing them. Decreased thyroid function, altered neurotransmitters, your mood is all over the place, increased oxidative stress, inflammation, bone loss. You might not be sweating anymore, dry mouth, salt cravings, joint or muscle pain, autoimmune conditions, high blood pressure, higher heart rate. Like, all of those are indications there's stuff going on that you need to face and visit, or otherwise it's going to continue to get worse and worse. And like we said, we are not perfect. Liz and I have high stress right now, but I have done everything in my power to try and combat with where can I pull stress down in my day to day? What are maybe stressors that I can get rid of, which is hard. Sometimes it means letting go of people or things that you truly do care about, right? Like, I love working with clients. Liz and I have both had to go on waiting lists, have to move old clients onto different practitioners, or have to let people we've had to do things that I don't want to do because we simply cannot take everything on our plate. And so on top of that, I am as on top of my nutrition and my hydration and all of the foundations as I can be. And I utilize things like peptides and things that I know help counteract the oxidative stress and the reactive oxygen species that are being created because of my chronic stress in my day. Like, I'm doing all the things, all the antioxidants. That's why I love the Oliveda internals. They're like antioxidant blends, pomegranate juice extract, and all of these amazing things that help with kind of battling specifically for skin. Because I don't want to look old and ragged. Like, I'm 36. I'm going to be 37. I'm going to be 37 this year. Like, I want to look vibrant and young. That is not old. I don't want to look old.
Mhm.
And so sometimes it means if you know that there are stressors that are not going to be able to be removed easily, how can you combat that stress in the best way possible? By doing more, by putting in things that are going to help your body be more resilient and take more action and more discipline in the areas you can control. So hopefully this helps you realize maybe your stress is bigger than you thought and to take action on doing things about it.